Who will Howie Roseman sign next? Coming up on today's Philadelphia Eagles Now, the top free agents remaining after week 1 of NFL free agency. But before we begin, look at us. Who would have thought? Closing in on 73,000 subscribers. We are 194 people away from reaching another milestone. And let me pose this question. Do you want Eagles shows every single day? Well, if the answer to that is yes, the solution very simple. Hit that sub button down below, and let's take a look at these free agents right now. This is Philadelphia Eagles Now by Chat Sports. I'm Chase Sr. As always, no matter where you are, how you're tuned in, we appreciate you for making today's show a part of your day. So many content options out there. Anytime you come, kick it with us. We're certainly grateful and appreciative of that. Hope everybody's week is off to a good start. And for those of you who went hard for St. Patrick's Day weekend, hopefully the recovery process is going along pretty well. Let's set the stage here by taking a look at the most cap space in the National Football League right now. Keep in mind, in looking at these numbers according to Spotrac, there's a lot of changes that could be made because some deals are official, other deals are not. And these salary cap numbers reflect some of these transactions and they don't reflect others. But this is the most updated look that we have at how much cap space the Philadelphia Eagles are equipped with right now going into week 2 of free agency. Commanders, they've been as busy about as any team in the National Football League. They have signed a bevy of players, a plethora of players. It's another good word that we can throw out there, but still Washington with $63 million in cap room. They haven't really made a big splash for a monumental player, but a bunch of moves on the peripheries as their new general manager, Adam Peters, under the new owner, Joshua Harris, and new head coach Dan Quinn, trying to really establish that culture for a Washington team that has been down and out for a really long time. New England Patriots, number 2 in cap space with $56.3 million. The Titans giving the bag to Calvin Ridley, still $50.5 million there. Los Angeles Chargers freed up a bunch of room in letting go of a couple of important players, $39.6 million. And there you see Philadelphia coming in with the 5th most cap space in the NFL, $39.1 million. And if you're saying, Chase, look at over the cap, it's even better. Well, I did. Over the cap also has the Eagles set with $39.1 million. So this is what we know. It's somewhere in the neighborhood of that figure right below me. Now let's take a look at the top available free agents. And we're going to go in order here. Best free agent still on the market is the 4-time second-team All-Pro safety Justin Simmons. You have Mike Williams, who has a couple of suitors after he was one of the big-name players let go by the Chargers. Chase Young seems to be out from San Francisco. He's had some visits with some other teams, Carolina Panthers, Tennessee Titans, New Orleans Saints, all reportedly showing interest. Stephon Gilmore, cornerback for the Cowboys last year, very good player over time with New England, Indianapolis, Dallas last year, getting older but can still play a little bit. Then Jadeveon Clowney had a career year with the Baltimore Ravens. The apple of Eagles fans' eyes is Justin Simmons, and he's still playing at an elite level, even though he's entering his age 31 season. This past year, 70 tackles, 2 TFLs, 3 picks, 2 forced fumbles. The interception numbers continue to be good year in, year out. Since entering the league in 2016 with Denver, he leads the NFL in picks with 30 of them. He is a ball hawk. He's an instinctual player. He's a team captain. We'll see if the Eagles have another splash move in their eyes, in their plans at the safety position after signing C.J. Gardner-Johnson, but Chauncey Gardner-Johnson could play safety. He could play slot corner as well. Chase Young is only 24 years old. You look at him and you're like, wow, he has the physical makeup to be one of the best edge rushers in the game. He's never fully tapped into all of that potential. He did win Defensive Rookie of the Year in 2020 with those 7.5 sacks, but then he hurts his knee, and it's been inconsistent production since then. He did tie his career high this past year with 7.5 sacks, but only had 2.5 on that loaded Niners defense in 9 games, and people question his effort issues on top of the medicals. That's a concern. That's why he's still out there. I thought Jadeveon Clowney was a great story for Baltimore. And what's new? The Ravens bring in any type of defensive player, whether it be a young player, veteran, draft, free agency. They always produce. 9.5 sacks for Jadeveon Clowney in 2023. It was arguably the best season of his career, and we'll see if that turns into a bag. Stephon Gilmore played good ball, allowed a completion rate, sub 55%. He did give up 4 touchdowns in coverage, but he had 13 pass breakups and 2 interceptions. I thought he played pretty well against the Eagles this past year, and a quarterback rating, not too shabby, 83.3. Which free agent target do you want the Eagles to sign? We're going to run through a total of 20 players on today's show, so drop me a name or names if you want to down in the comments section. Speaking of free agency, the big ticket signing for the Birds, Saquon Barkley coming back to his home state of Pennsylvania, and the Saquon jerseys in that 26 look very, very fresh. I have a Lito Shepherd jersey from way back in the day. He was actually the last cornerback drafted by the Eagles in the first round. Should I put some tape over Shepherd, put some Barkley there, or I'll just get my own jersey using that link down below. Chatsports.com/Saquon jersey. Link is hanging out down in the comments section and in the description of this video. Some really good deals right now. And as you can see, the new print on the Eagles going to debut here in 2024. Let's move forward with this list. Safety Quandre Diggs, safety Julian Blackmon. 2 very solid players on the back end. If you don't want to afford or can't afford the price tag of Justin Simmons, they're not bad other options there. Xavien Howard played this past year under Vic Fangio with the Miami Dolphins, but I think it's safe to say that his best days are in the rear view. Tre'Davious White, 29-year-old corner who's been a second-team All-Pro and an All-Pro player and a multi-time Pro Bowler, but is coming off back-to-back years in which he suffered a torn ACL and torn Achilles. And then Trent Brown, offensive tackle, solid player there. Worry about the cultural fit, but good thing is Eagles don't really need any offensive line help if they go that route. It's probably going to be in the NFL draft to get a Lane Johnson future replacement. Quandre Diggs. Darius Slay's been recruiting him, and he was let go by Seattle, and he's still playing very, very good football. And he's not quite the player that Justin Simmons is, but look at all those pass breakups, and look at all of those interceptions. Last 4 years, 10-7-7-5 as far as the PBUs, and then 5-5-4-1 in the interception department, and very steadily available, just like Justin Simmons, a very sound tackler as well. Maybe a cheaper option there at that safety spot. You could throw Adoree Jackson into that category too. And then there's Julian Blackmon. Coverage stats that will show you a lot of completion rate, 70%, no touchdowns in coverage, 8 PBUs and 4 picks, and a quarterback rating of 55.8. This player is criminally underrated in my opinion. I'm excited to see what his market is going to be as far as the average annual value, total money, and total guaranteed money. Then there's Xavien Howard. He allowed a completion percentage of 62%, 2 touchdowns given up, 12 pass breakups, and 1 interception, and a quarterback rating of 86.7. He is not the number 1 corner that he used to be, but even though he's getting a little bit longer in the tooth, I think Xavien Howard can still play a little bit, and yeah, he's probably better than James Bradbury. Tre'Davious White, the resume is long. It's impressive. He was a first-round pick out of LSU, so came into the league with pedigree, playing at a power program, and from 2017 to 2020, excellent, excellent production, but injury issues have robbed him, as I said, of his last couple of years. The good news is he's only 29 years old. Let go by Buffalo on that cap-saving move as they really cleaned house on the defensive side of the football because money's getting tight as Josh Allen's contract is set to set in. If White is down for a 1-year contract and he takes a short-term deal worth little money, I'd take a chance on him. And that's kind of what Howie Roseman is down to do, right? Howie Roseman gave Devin White a 1-year, $3.5 million contract. Now, it's worth up to about $7.5 million, but 1 year, 3.5 for a player who was a second-team All-Pro in 2020? Are you kidding me? Howie Roseman is a wizard with these deals, and can he work out another good wizardry deal with some of the players or player that we're talking about on this show? 11 through 15, you have Calais Campbell, who just continues to play at this point. He's been in the league for a minute. Adoree Jackson, solid slot corner. Jamal Adams, he is so cooked it's not even funny. Steven Nelson, former Eagle, who kind of ripped the fan base a little bit. And then J.K. Dobbins, a running back on this list at number 15. And Dobbins, it's been really, really unfortunate. Torn ACL in 2021, torn Achilles this past year. He cannot escape the injury bug. And what he did year one, it looked like he was emerging into the, one of the top young backs in the National Football League. He gets drafted. He carries the rock for 134 totes, 805 yards, 6 yards per carry, and 9 touchdowns as a rookie. And then in the preseason, going into his sophomore campaign, a lot of people looked at him as a fantasy darling. Tears his ACL. Comes back in 2022. Only played in 8 games. Still ran for 520 yards and 5.7 yards per carry. And then this past year, snake bitten once again. It's unfortunate. I hate when this happens to really talented young players before they can even fully display what they're able to do, especially on a consistent basis. You want to take a chance on him for the vet min, so to speak? I would think about it. But then if you add him and you don't draft a running back and he gets hurt again, you're in the market for a running back. Is Kenneth Gainwell going to be the RB2 behind Saquon Barkley? I think you can do a little bit better there. I like some of these backs in the draft. It is not a deep running back class, that is for sure. Blake Corum, I think, would be a terrific cultural and play style addition to this team. A little bit shorter, still shifty, still very powerful, can run in between the tackles, get out to the perimeter, catch the ball out of the backfield. He was looked at as one of the backbones of that entire Michigan team as far as leadership goes. So that's a player that I'd kind of like to target maybe in day 2. Or probably day 3 at this point, not day 2 because that's the second round of the draft, but day 3, I think that can make some sense. And then lastly, 16 through 20 here, the Eagles aren't in the need for an offensive lineman. So Kevin Zietler, Connor Williams, you just don't have a need there. Connor Williams has developed into a pretty solid center. Pro Football Focus really liked him in the 2023 campaign. Jordan Fuller, another cheaper safety as the Rams brought in Cam Curl a couple of days ago. Tyler Boyd, 29 years old, been a good go-to option for Cincinnati, a second-round pick many years ago. This past year had more than 600 receiving yards. And you have Odell Beckham Jr., but I think the Eagles seem to be set at wide receiver right now. You have A.J. Brown, you have Devontae Smith. Maybe that cap space right now is open for a Devontae Smith contract extension. You can't rule that out, and I think that could happen at some point because he's turned into quite the player and helping to reverse the Eagles wide receiver room. But you have those two guys. You have Devontae Parker, who's your larger wide receiver body. It's an extremely talented wide receiver class in the 2024 draft, and you have Dallas Goedert, who's also a pass catcher on this team. You brought back Albert Okwuegbunam. Jack Stoll left for the New York Giants, so the tight end room could look a little bit different too. Before we hop on out of here, make sure you give me a follow. I'm on X. I'm on Instagram, at Chase_Senior on both platforms. Don't be a stranger. Slide in the DMs, say what's up. Sometimes I'll just be chilling at the crib. I'll look at my messages and be like, I'll respond to all of these people and say thank you. So I also put up a lot of short-form content on the social media pages as well.